In the dying light of the sector, the pirates thrive. Cutthroats and warlords flying ships held together by spite and scrap. They raid trade lanes and vanish into the fringe before the dust settles. They're not an empire, they're a disease, and they are everywhere. In the chaotic aftermath of the collapse, when humanity's glittering network of ancient transport gates suddenly died, civilization fractured into a dozen feuding powers, and the law evaporated with the last jump gates. Out here at the edges of space, survival became every captain's burden, and for some, desperation became vengeance. Among the shattered remnants of humanity emerged the pirates. Not a nation, not a navy, but a scattered brotherhood of rogues, deserters, mercenaries and opportunists, united by little but a willingness to live outside the law and take what they needed by force. To the powers that be, the hegemony, the league, the diktat, they were criminals. To each other, they were the free men and women unfettered by allegiance to any crown or congress. These pirates weren't uniform. Some were consummate spacers, hardened by years of chasing trade convoys across the void. Others were just burned out veterans, disgusted with the old order, or runaway recruits from the core worlds who found more freedom in piracy than in peace. Together they harassed every faction that crossed their path, be it patrol fleet or cargo convoy, leaving destroyed hulls and bleeding systems in their wake. They built bases in the Forgotten Reaches, rusted hubs hidden in asteroid belts or orbiting dead worlds. These outposts became the thorn in every civilized polity's side, spawning raiding fleets and dragging whole star systems into pirate activity that choked commerce and starved local markets. But among the madness rose figures capable of bending chaos into a semblance of order. First, Warlord Leonis, whose brutal conquest of systems in the early era made pirates a force to be feared, until he was undone by the newly arrived 14th Battle Group, legitimizing the need for structure among the lawless. Then came Onesimus Loke, a renegade former officer who carved a bloody path through the Persian sector and struck a stunning blow against the hegemony, only to be toppled by the rising star Philip Andrade. And finally, the name whispered in every bar and Warrenside tavern, Jorien Kanta. Once a logistics colonel for the hegemony, Kanta betrayed her old masters, seized a station with pirate allies, and forged it into a bastion now called Kanta's Den. Through calculated violence, betrayal, and dark alliances, she built a dynasty among the pirates, an uneasy, ruthless authority in a faction that otherwise revered freedom above all. Today, the pirates of the sector remain a force without loyalty to any flag. They raid, they plunder, and they remind every trader and warship that in these shattered stars, the only law that matters is survival. The pirates have always been known as aggressive, reckless fighters. Tales of their exploits spread through the sector like wildfire. Let's take a look at the ships used to strike fear into the hearts of the authorities. First off, we have the Afflictor. The Afflictor P is a low-cost assassin-style frigate. It pales in comparison to the original Afflictor with its access to high-tech weaponry, but the pirates can use their weapons and version of this ship to create a semi-aggressive support ship that is perfect for the start of an ambush. Next up, we have the Cerberus P. The Cerberus P is a cheap-to-deploy, fast and reasonably well-armoured combat freighter, with a burn drive system to spring an ambush quickly and a wealth of small and medium ballistic firepower to put the fear of Lud into even the most faithful traders. Next up, we have the Gremlin P. The Gremlin P is a phase-capable frigate held together by nothing but dodgy welding and rolls of duct tape. It is, however, cheap to deploy and a very good assassin-style ship. Used correctly, the Gremlin P can deliver some well-placed torpedoes to change the tide of most battles. Up next, we have the Hound P. The Hound P is similar to the Cerberus in that it's a combat freighter, but it is cheaper to deploy, slightly less firepower, and much, much faster. If you need fire support rapidly, this is your go-to pirate ship. Next up, we have the Kite P. The Kite P is an effective little support ship designed to harass and be as annoying as possible. For 2 deployment points, you have 2 small missile mounts and a small ballistic mount, perfect as a throwaway interceptor to disable some enemy ship systems. Next, we have the Mudskipper Mark II. The Mudskipper Mark II is a heavy weapons platform, a small, relatively fast frigate with a large ballistic mount. Due to its flux capacity though, it can't do too much. But with a Hellbore cannon, the Mudskipper can strip the armour off even the largest ships with a single shot, if it survives long enough. Next up, the Shade P. Like the Afflictor, the Shade P isn't quite as effective as its original, but with its phase capability and EMP emitter system, the Shade is a vital frigate for most pirate fleets to disable enemy weapons and engines. Next, we have the Wolf P. The Wolf P is very similar to its high-tech counterpart, but it's cheaper to maintain and deploy. That is at the cost of 2 small energy hardpoints that are usually dedicated to point defense, but who needs that when they're too scared to shoot back, right? Lastly, for the frigates, we have the Vanguard P. The Vanguard P is the frontline heavy assault frigate of the pirate fleet, designed to distract, tank incoming damage, and deliver a burst of ballistic firepower and missile volleys to keep the enemies on their toes. Now we move on to the destroyers, and first up we have the Enforcer P. The Enforcer P is a heavily armoured ballistic juggernaut, one of the gunships in the pirate's arsenal that can truly punch above its weight. With 5 medium ballistic hardpoints and 4 missile slots, this ship delivers a huge punch, all for 9 deployment points. Next, we have the Manticore P. Escort, Sniper, Heavy Assault Destroyer, you choose. The Manticore P is a tough all-rounder destroyer designed to be adaptable to many different styles of fleet. With 2 medium missile and 1 large ballistic hardpoint, the Manticore can dish out damage from wherever you'd like it to. Next up, the Mule P. The Mule P is a converted combat freighter that is cheap to deploy and a great heavily armoured distraction. It is flexible in combat with its universal medium hardpoint turret and 2 medium missile slots, and has ample ballistic slots for good point defense coverage too. Now, the Shrike P. The Shrike P is an assault destroyer designed to plasma burn into close range of its target, deliver a heavy payload of energy and missile weapons fire, and then leave. While not as effective as its high-tech counterpart, it is cheaper to deploy and comes with a nicer paint job. Now, we move on to the cruisers, and first up we have the Colossus Mark III. The Colossus Mark III is a converted freighter that now carries 2 fighter wings and a wealth of small ballistic hardpoints. It's flimsy, it's slow, and doesn't dish out a lot of damage, but it's an 8 deployment point cruiser that can provide fire support versus smaller ships. Now, my personal favourite assault cruiser, the Eradicator. The Eradicator P is a fast, heavily armoured assault cruiser designed to dive into the fray and unleash waves of missiles and ballistic volleys to the nearby unfortunates. For only 18 deployment points, you can unleash your own personal juggernaut that can take on ships twice its value. Up next, we have the Falcon P. The Falcon P is arguably one of the best ships in the pirate's arsenal, a deadly missile cruiser that can lay down swarms of missile fire, either distracting enemy point defense or just outright destroying them in a very rapid fashion. Lastly, we have the Venture Mark II. The Venture Mark II is a heavily armoured brick of a cruiser. It isn't manoeuvrable or agile, but it is great at chucking torpedoes downrange fast, supported by a healthy mix of medium ballistic and energy hardpoints, as well as a rear large missile hardpoint. And finally, onto the capitals. First and last, the Atlas Mark II. This is the defining ship of the pirate's fleet, a glass cannon freighter conversion into a kinetic round delivery system with 2 large missile mounts strapped to the side for good measure, and just to be sure, an accelerated ammo feeder system, as in the land of the pirates, Dakar is king. Hi everyone, welcome to the weapons tier list. As the intro and the ship scenes were so long, I'm going to keep the weapons fairly short and cut the wings out, as the pirates only use the broadsword, the piranha and the talon anyway, similar to the path, so if you want my view on those you can check it out on the path video. Anyway, let's start with the staple torpedo for the pirates. We have the Reaper torpedo. The Reaper is a deadly torpedo that dishes out 4,000 damage on hit. Combined with expanded missile racks and a captain with missile specialization, you can create a deadly ambusher style ship with the Reaper and the pirate ships. Next up, we have the Hephaestus Assault Gun. The Hephaestus is an anti-armour focused weapon, but dishes out so much damage that it can pressure weaker shield systems too. It only costs 20 ordnance points to fit, and coupled with integrated targeting unit and a gunnery implant's captain, has a range of nearly 1600 metres. Next, we have the Squall MLRS. The Squall is a missile system designed to pressure enemy shields and make them think twice about advancing on your friendly forces. The launcher holds 160 missiles base, and that can be raised with expanded missile racks and a captain with missile specialisation. Lastly, the Harpoon MRM. The Harpoon is a deadly guided anti-armour missile designed to finish off targets that are under a lot of shield pressure, or disabled entirely. Coupled with expanded missile racks and/or missile autoloader, the Harpoon can be used to flood the battlefield with effective missiles. In the end, the pirates of the Persian sector are not an empire, they're something worse. They are what happens when civilization fails. When the gates collapsed and the old domain vanished, lore disappeared overnight. Crews were stranded, worlds were cut off, supply chains died, and in that silence the first pirates were born, not as kings, but as survivors who chose to take rather than starve. But survival doesn't explain what they became. They aren't just desperate scavengers, they're executioners. Their fleets fly ships held together with scrap and desperation, yet they throw themselves into battle without hesitation. They raid colonies already on the brink, strangle trade routes and leave systems to slowly suffocate. Not for conquest, not for ideology, but because it's what they are. And somehow, they never stop coming. Every weapon sold on the black market, every lost blueprint, every piece of forgotten domain technology, sooner or later, finds its way into pirate hands. Every attempt to move forward feeds the chaos dragging the sector back. And at the centre of it all sits Jorien Kanta, once a loyal officer of the hegemony, now the queen of a pirate empire built on betrayal. From Kanta's den, she proves something terrifying. That pirates don't need unity to win, they just need the sector to keep breaking. Because the pirates aren't really a faction, they're a symptom. They are a scar left by the collapse, and they are never going away. This has been another Starsector faction deep dive. In a broken sector, every faction has its secrets, and we're here to uncover them one story at a time. Again guys, thank you all for following this series and going on this faction deep dive journey with me. You'll be pleased to know that, while this might be the end of the natural factions, we still have a few vanilla factions to explore. But I would caution new players, or people that don't want any spoilers, to play more of Starsector before watching any further videos. You may be wondering, well, what about the independents? Well, they don't have much fleshed out lore behind them from what I can see, other than being a loose group of non-pirate individuals, so let me know if that's entirely false in the comments. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, please consider liking and subscribing here on YouTube, and following on Twitch at the links below. It's free, it's quick, and it really does make a difference to my channels. If you've loved it, then please share it with a friend. Until next time, stay safe out there guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one.